Hey cruisers, I'm Sherry with CruiseTipsTV.com. Thank you so much for joining us for our latest cruise news video. Today we have a lot to cover from a variety of different cruise lines. There's been quite a bit going on for the last week or so. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at cruiseline.com and Shipmate app. You guys, they have this article that is so amazing that I want to share with you. I'm going to link to this in the description of the video, but they are continuously updating an article about when certain Caribbean ports and other popular cruise ports are reopening, and it's an excellent point of reference. So we're going to link to that in the description for you. For those of you who are new to our channel, I want to welcome you and invite you to subscribe. If you are not new and you're watching today, please remember, if you're already a subscriber, would you hit that notification bell? That will help you to get alerted when we do live streams and put new videos out. So I hope everyone is doing great, enjoying summer. We certainly are missing cruising, especially with all the news that's going on right now, thinking about it all the time, but you know, we're just kind of taking it day by day with quarantine life. California is kind of back on lockdown right now, so we're doing a lot of home cooking, a lot of gardening, enjoying our time here. So let's jump into our cruise news today because we have a lot to cover. Let's start with the big news from Carnival Cruise Line this week. Cruise Radio is reporting that Carnival Fantasy has indeed been sold. I think we all suspected that these fantasy class ships might be some of the first to go, as Carnival Corporation sells off about 13 of their ships, and Carnival Fantasy has indeed offloaded some heavy equipment in Curacao and is heading to, as Cruise Radio puts it, her final resting place in Izmir, Turkey. And apparently in Izmir, Turkey, there is a very large vessel scrapyard, so that's what the ship will be doing over there. So sad! To those of you who have been on a fantasy class ship, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. We've been on Imagination and Inspiration, and now my question for you and just the cruise industry in general is, do you guys think that Carnival Imagination and Carnival Inspiration will be next? Do you think they'll be sold? I have a feeling that they probably will. And I saw a news source report earlier this week that those two ships were also spotted in Curacao to offload heavy equipment. So it's interesting, maybe the same situation as Carnival Fantasy, and hopefully we'll find out soon. Royal Caribbean has some interesting news this week too. For those of you who follow Matt over at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, you will know that Royal Caribbean fans are very happy to hear this week that the refund time for Royal Caribbean cruises has come down greatly. So now they're doing their very best to process those refunds for you in under a month where possible. So good job, Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean Blog is also reporting that Royal Caribbean has a new cruise booking design, which is really, really pretty, visually appealing. Make sure that you go to Royal Caribbean Blog and check that out as well. Now we're going to talk about some more really big news this week from Holland America, and that is the update that Holland America has announced that they are selling 4 of their ships. Maasdam, Veendam, Amsterdam, and Rotterdam are all being sold. They're being sold in pairs. So where are they going? That's the next question, right? Where are these babies going? Who's buying the ships? Well, we know that Fred Olsen Line expects to take delivery of Amsterdam and Rotterdam. We just found that out later in the day yesterday, and that they're going to rename the ships in September when they take possession of them, Bolette and Borealis, as part of an optimization of the Fred Olsen Line fleet. So that's pretty exciting stuff. And Fred Olsen is currently a ship that's over in the UK market, and they currently have about 4 ships over there. So it's still unknown where Maasdam and Veendam are going, but Amsterdam and Rotterdam are going to Fred Olsen. Now, if you were booked on one of these 4 ships, Holland America will be in touch with you or your travel agent about rebooking, and we'll also let you know if you can get a refund. The refunds are an option. We're just not sure at this moment how to go about doing that, but they will let you know. Now, have you ever dreamed about going on a cruise on one of the American rivers? We certainly have, and one of the companies that we've discovered over the last few years is American Queen Steamboat Company. And American Queen Steamboat has just announced that they have partnered with the American Heart Association to put together a special new itinerary. So as part of their new charitable giving series, which will launch with the Heart of the Mississippi Cruise on February 14th, 2021, these two organizations are kicking off a partnership. Now listen to this. How nice is this? American Queen Steamboat Company will donate $50,000 in 2021, plus 100% of the proceeds from a special 5K fundraiser towards heart and stroke research and awareness, according to the press release. So good job, American Queen Steamboat Company, also known as AQSC, if you want to shorten that up. We're really pleased to see such a wonderful partnership. Now, have you all heard the news about Key West? It is true that Key West could be banning big cruise ships. Now, here's what's going on. A referendum has been added to the November ballot that would drastically limit the size of cruise ships that can call in Key West. In fact, ships with more than 1,300 guests would not be allowed to disembark passengers in Key West at all. So, I mean, the article said that this affects mega ships, but to be honest, this even affects mid-size and large ships. This is about probably most of the cruise ships who call on Key West would be impacted by this. So what do you think, you guys? What do you think is going to happen with this referendum in November? Do you think it's going to pass? Do you think that Key West will truly limit the number of passengers or not? Let me know in the comments. Now let's talk a little bit more about another cruise line who has extended the suspension of their cruises. Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line has this week extended their suspension due to the new travel restrictions from the Bahamas and unfortunately a spike in cases in the Florida area and just in general in the nation. So for those of you who are not familiar, Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line is a Florida-based cruise company, and they had previously been planning on going back to cruising late July. But now they've pushed that to late August. Now, you're probably wondering, why were they allowed to go back in late July when all of the other cruise companies who are affiliated with CLIA had extended to September? Well, they're not members of CLIA. Not all cruise lines are. And in fact, Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line had already been cleared by the CDC to return to sailing. So this was their decision. Not surprised at all. It sounds like they made the right decision. And of course, if you want to read a little bit more about that, Cruise Radio has an article on their website that's really great. So, and in other news today, I told you there's a lot of news this week. A judge has dismissed the lawsuits that we heard a little bit about earlier this year regarding Grand Princess. So I'll read a little bit more about the release here from Reuters. A federal judge dismissed lawsuits by Grand Princess cruise ship passengers who sued for emotional distress caused by their fear of exposure to COVID-19, saying that allowing their cases to proceed would lead to a flood of trivial suits. So that decision has been made. The judge has dismissed those Grand Princess lawsuits from people who were suing over distress caused by their fear of exposure to COVID-19. Let's switch gears and talk about Princess Cruises. Princess Cruises this week announced their 2021 and 2022 Caribbean and Panama Canal offerings, and boy, is it fun to jump on their website and do some daydreaming. So in the Caribbean, they're going to have lots of ships. Caribbean Princess, Crown, Enchanted, Island, and Sky will offer 109 departures, 17 itineraries, and their cruises will range in length from 3 to 20 days and go to 27 different destinations. So you can check out some 7-day Caribbean itineraries on Medallion class ships, including Sky Princess and Caribbean Princess, that go to amazing ports. You can look at their 10-day Caribbean sailings on Enchanted Princess and Sky. They're even going to the ABC Islands. So be sure to check out Princess's website for more information there. And if you can, get on one of their itineraries that visits their wonderful private island, Princess Keys. We love Princess Keys. We love the water sports there, the cabanas. You can swim with stingrays. It's fantastic. All right, more news from the Caribbean. St. Martin is requiring masks and a negative test for entry if you're over the age of 10. So masks in St. Martin, as of right now, this could change later. are going to be required by the Ministry of Public Health. These are the guidelines that must be adhered to by all visitors. Now, obviously, cruises aren't going there right now, but if you're planning on doing a land vacation and going to St. Martin, you will be asked to wear your mask at all times, adhere to social distancing, avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, and have a negative test ready and a copy of a health declaration form before you enter the area. Windstar Cruises reported this week that they are adding HEPA filters and ultraviolet light to their ships. So they have this program called the Beyond Ordinary Care program that implements what they call a layered system of science-led best practices aimed at keeping everyone aboard healthy. They have worked with the University of Colorado to develop this program called Beyond Ordinary Care, and they're going to create and continue to create a safe sanitization formula that is actually used in healthcare settings. So it's really awesome to see this kind of a partnership and to see that they're pulling from best practices in healthcare settings. I think that's what all of us would like to see. So in closing this week, have you been following the stock market? In general, stock prices really rose this week across all of the different lines, at least as of yesterday, Wednesday. They're down a little bit today. It's obviously very fluid. But why did this surge happen? Well, the experts on Wall Street says that it is on news that Moderna has announced promising vaccine trial news. So that was an experimental vaccine. We're hoping that that will come through, but it's giving investors hope that a treatment or a vaccine is coming soon, and it could be available sooner than people predicted, so that is great. If you are interested in trading stocks, we will link to our favorite stock trading app, Webull, in the description of this video. And if you use our referral link, you actually can get 2 free stocks using Webull. It's really cool. You get a free stock when you sign up for an account, and you get a free stock when you make a deposit. But as with any financial decision, please proceed with caution. You guys, the stock market is obviously volatile. You want to be very, very careful. But if it's something you're interested in, we love the Webull app, and we're excited to be able to offer you a couple of free stocks. Wow, I need to take a deep breath after that news update. That was a lot. I hope all of you enjoyed that. I hope it was helpful and a nice way to get some consolidated news for the week. Hang in there. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know what you think about all of this news. If you are investing in the stock market and you want to share your strategies, leave them in the comments below. Thank you all so very much for tuning in today. And until next time, we'll see you on the virtual high seas.